Hey y'all, my name is Dawn, and welcome to my channel. I know you all see, if you look at my channel, there's a lot of food and baking because when I first started this channel back in, I think it was 2011, I had this idea that because I love to cook and bake, and I went to culinary school and I got a business degree because I thought I'd own my own business and yada yada yada. I ended up getting sick and that didn't pan out. So while I was trying to deal with what was going on, going to doctors back and forth, I just sort of let this channel slip. Then a few years ago, I started back up, as you can see with some of the recent videos. With me baking and cooking, I'm still having issues because back then they thought or they had, said that I had IBS. They really didn't know what was wrong with me. With some of my issues that I was having has some of the signs of IBS, even though the test didn't test positive for IBS. They just didn't know. I only had one doctor who was honest, who said, I don't know what's wrong with you. You have, characteristics from certain different elements, but he couldn't tell me for sure. So, since I gotten sick like a few years ago, I just got sick again. I was just tired, exhausted. I just stopped doing the cooking and baking. And I cook occasionally now, but not so much, because I'm just tired all the time. And so it's around that time when I got when they got checked out and they were able to pinpoint exactly what was going on with me, which I will get into that in a minute. But I said all of that to say that this channel now is just going to be my journey of living day to day with with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so this is my journey, my life as right now. So just a quick introduction. I am Dawn. I am 56 years old. I found out about the cancer when I was 54, and I was like 6 weeks until I turned 55. So be like, happy birthday to me. But my story is about a year ago, over a year ago, went to go see my in-laws in Illinois. We live in Missouri and spend the holidays with them because I do work. And the day we were supposed to leave to come back home, I was in such severe pain, like severe pain. It got so bad where I was running up blood, and when I would use the bathroom, there was blood. And my husband was like, honey, we need to take you to the emergency room. And I'm like, no, I just want to go home because if something was really wrong, I did not want to be stuck in a hospital in a different state, which is Illinois. So we got on the road because we lived 3 miles from my in law's house. I was throwing up blood and sick the whole time, you guys, the whole time. And coming home, we stopped. When we come back, we passed by a town called Lebanon, Missouri. They had an emergency room there. We live probably about 25, 30 minutes from there. So he dropped me off at the emergency room and he came home to take the dogs because we have a Yorkie. And so, we couldn't bring her in an emergency room with us. So he dropped me off, took her back home to unload the car, and then he came back to the emergency room. By the time he came back, they had already admitted me. They had took CT scans and some other tests, and then when the doctor came in, he said that they noticed a tumor on my pancreas. So they referred me to, I believe, a gastroenterologist, and that was Dr. Reddy. No, Dr. Suzuki. Getting my doctor, y'all. I see so many doctors. I'm getting confused. But Dr. Suzuki, I hope I'm saying his name right. Probably not, but if you're listening to this, Dr. Suzuki, I apologize. Anywho, so he did his thing, his scan, whatever he was doing, and he took, biopsy. And when the results came back, he said they were benign, and but he wanted to send me to a specialist in St. Louis to remove the tumor off my pancreas. So he sent it, all my work because I didn't know who to go. So he, suggested, where to go. So he sent all the paperwork to a doctor office in St. Louis, Missouri. And while I was waiting and waiting, I was like, okay, when is this doctor going to get back in contact with me? Never have. And so I ended up calling myself. Well, kind of find out later, they sent my test result to another doctor in the same building, though, the same building, but not to the one that Dr. Saduki had wanted me to go. It actually went to Dr. William Chapman, which that was a blessing. I believe God hand was in that, you guys. Older gentleman. I don't know about the other doctor. Don't know him personally. I did go up, and Google him. He seemed like he was all right, a little bit younger than Dr. Chapman, but Dr. Chapman is over the liver and transplant team in St. Louis. Plus, he teaches at a WashU, and he's very highly esteemed in his field. I didn't know that at the time, but later on, I found out all this. And so they ended up, when I went to go see him, my husband and I went out there to see him. He looked at the scans, and from what the scans did, his thing was to do a Whipple procedure, which is removing part of the pancreas and the spleen and some other stuff, whatever. But he wanted to do his own scan. So I ended up getting a PET scan done, MRI, CT scan, and I believe I got an ultrasound. I'm not too sure. I could check my medical records, but I have to check that out to make sure. So when they all came back, he said that, and the PET, it's, it was weird. The MRI revealed that there was a lesion on my liver, but then when he did the PET scan showed two lesions on the liver. So he said that they would do a resegment, I think he called it, where he said those the lesions were on a part of my liver that would grow back, so they can just cut that off when they were doing a Whipple procedure. So the day of my surgery, Dr. Chapman explained to me that they will have to pump me full of antibiotics because your spleen is what is used to fight infections. So literally, he said, like once they remove my spleen, I could get sick for anything almost as simple as a common cold. If I was to be sick, I would have to go and get to the hospital and just have them pump me full of antibiotics because with that the okay, when the spleen is removed, you cannot fight infection. So my husband and I, we were had a conversation because I work at the DMV. And of course, a lot of people come into that place. And so my husband and I, we were like, should I continue working knowing that I would not have a spleen and knowing, and you all know how people are, because even now I have folks come in talking about, oh, I got COVID, but I have to, title my vehicle. I'm like, sir, ma'am, no, you do not have to title your vehicle. You have more than enough time, or if they're already late, they already gonna pay a late fee, but they want to come get somebody sick. But that's how folks are, y'all. That's how folks are today. So, and that was our biggest concern was me getting sick. So we were like, we weren't really sure. I didn't know what I wanted. Wanted to do, either quit my job, actually like my job or not. And we said that we would think about that during my recovery process. Well, when Dr. Chapman had, cut me up because he had to cut me up and they couldn't do it laparoscopically because of other surgeries that I had. So there was, too much scar tissue. So he ended up cutting me from like right in between my chest bone to my breast, all the way past my navel. So he said they had to cut me open and, the pancreas sits behind the intestines and the stomach. So they had to, move that over to get to that. Well, when he went in there, he said, nothing on the screen, nothing, inside of me showed what they, all the tests and scans that they did. Kind of find out the tumor was in their scans was in the middle of my pancreas. That's why they were doing a Whipple procedure. And then kind of find out that the tumor was just sitting on top of the pancreas, so they were able to scoop that up. The surprise was, he said, was the liver. They were able to move the two lesions on my liver, the part that grows back, but there was 10 more lesions on my liver that was near the like major blood vessels. And to do that, they would have killed me, he said, but they did not show up on none of the scans. So it's like I literally got put to sleep thinking, okay, I have a tumor that's benign. They're just going to remove it and remove some other parts of my body, and I would be fine. That wasn't so, you guys. It came to find out that I end up having stage 4 pancreatic cancer and, metastasized to my liver. So that was I couldn't even grasp that because that wasn't what was in my mind because that's not what the doctor in Springfield, Missouri had told me until Dr. Chapman opened me up. So, and plus with top that off, I had to stay in the hospital. They said 7 days. I ended up staying for 5 because I just ready to go home. But Dr. Chapman, like, if you can get out this bed and walk to the nurse station and do a bowel movement, you can go home. I was like, bet, y'all. Oh my God, I thought I was gonna die. I could barely breathe. I was just like shallow breathing when they like, y'all, we need you to cough. And I was like, I said, oh no, that's all you're getting from this girl here. I couldn't hardly talk. Everything hurt, you guys. But I was able to do that, and they sent me home. And for me to heal, it took me about 2 weeks. I was off work for 2 weeks. So that's just the first part of the story. Is a lot goes on, so I'll probably come back tomorrow, but I don't want the video to be longer than like 15 minutes. So, and I'm already at the 11 mark, the 11-minute mark. But that was it blew my mind, you guys. It took me a long time to grasp that I have cancer, and not that I have cancer, but I have stage 4 cancer, and there's nothing they can do for me. That was hard to grasp because a part of my mind was just like, this is not Dawn. This is another Dawn. They don't mean me. They got me mistaken with somebody else and was not to be. So it's just emotional thinking about it, you guys. But I will come back and finish my story and then let you know what's all is going on now. So you guys have a blessed evening and I will see you soon.